They say some houses are simply old, but others are ancient in memory. If walls could speak, this one would scream. Welcome to Adorable Skull, where haunted history meets the nightmares hiding in plain sight. Don't forget to subscribe, if you dare. Nestled in Vancouver's elite Shaughnessy neighborhood, HYCROFT Manor was more than a home. It was a statement. Built between 1909 and 1911 for General Alexander Duncan McRae, a Canadian war hero and wealthy businessman, the mansion became a 20,000 square foot testament to prestige and eventually to pain. With over 30 rooms, marble fireplaces, grand staircases, and secret spaces, the manor lived many lives. From opulent parties to wartime trauma, it served as a convalescent hospital for veterans from 1942 to 1960. And like many places touched by war, some who entered never left. Today, it's a cultural landmark, home to the University Women's Club. But beneath its historic charm lingers something colder, something permanent. The General walks alone. They say he appears just after sunset. An older man in a pristine World War I officer's uniform, standing still in the main hallway, staring at the fireplace as though he never left the front lines. Security guards have reported the same thing for decades, the sound of boots on the grand staircase. Not creaks, footfalls, deliberate, measured, as if someone were still commanding the house. One caretaker, new to the building, once followed the footsteps, expecting a late guest. Instead, she found the hallway empty, except for a trail of wet prints leading to the study. When she stepped inside, the fire roared to life, unlit just seconds before. The air reeked of gunpowder and iron. She never returned. Those who've seen him up close say his face is calm until you meet his eyes, because they don't see you. They see something beyond you, something dying. And if you stand too long, you'll start to hear the shelling, the screams, the sound of war echoing through marble halls that were never meant for blood. Blanche walks in silk. They say you'll smell her before you see her, a faint trace of rosewater and cold air drifting down the halls where no wind should pass. Blanche McRae, the General's wife, once hosted the city's most lavish gatherings at HYCROFT. The clink of crystal, the hush of whispered secrets, the rustle of silk gowns under chandeliers the size of nightmares. But her beauty, they say, was rivaled only by her loneliness. And after the war, something in her changed. Guests recalled her gliding through rooms as if untethered from time, smiling politely at no one. Today, Blanche still roams the manor, dressed in ivory, her gown trailing behind her like a question unanswered. Staff have seen her reflection in mirrors, always facing away from them. A woman brushing hair that isn't there, a voice humming a waltz long forgotten. One visitor swears he saw her standing atop the grand staircase, staring down at him with eyes that glistened. No tears, just light trapped in glass. Then, without a sound, she stepped forward and vanished mid-fall. Some say she still waits for the ballroom to fill again, for music, for meaning. But the waltz ended long ago, and she never left the floor. The head nurse never clocked out. When war ended, the battle didn't. From 1942 to 1960, HYCROFT Manor was repurposed into a convalescent hospital, a place where bodies healed, but minds unraveled. She was known only as the head nurse, stern, silent, tireless, the last to leave every ward. Until one night, she didn't. Some say she died in her sleep. Others whisper of a fall down the servants' stairwell, neck snapped silently against the stone. No official record was kept, just a sudden absence. Since then, caretakers report sterile smells, alcohol, blood, iodine, wafting through rooms long abandoned, patients' bells ringing without wires, and footsteps. Heavy, deliberate, pacing in sequence, always just out of sight. One janitor quit after seeing her in the hallway mirror. Nurse's cap askew, eyes bloodshot, hands red, not with blood, with rust, from dragging an IV pole that didn't exist. She walks still, checking beds that aren't there, watching over ghosts who never went home. And if you hear a voice whisper, "Vitals stable, run," that means she thinks you're staying. The prankster's last laugh. Not all spirits linger in sorrow. Some stay for the mischief. 3 of them, veterans if you believe the lore, refuse to move on. Maybe the afterlife was too quiet. Maybe they found HYCROFT more amusing. They're known as the pranksters. Lights flicker, not from faulty wiring, but from unseen fingers tapping the switches. Doors open with a hiss, then slam shut, just as you pass. A pianist reported every key of the grand piano slamming down at once. No one nearby. Staff leave their coats neatly on hooks, only to find them stacked like corpses in the bathtub. Once, a guest claimed his shoelaces tied themselves together while he stood still. He tripped down the stairs and heard laughing. Not human. Not quite. They're harmless, they say, until they're not. Because when the games stop and the lights go out for good, what's left but to play with you? The crying man below. If you ever find yourself alone on HYCROFT's lower floor, you'll know he's near when the air gets heavy. Not cold. Heavy like grief made physical. They call him the crying man. No one knows his name, only the sound. Wretched sobbing, like ribs cracking under the weight of a broken heart. It starts soft, behind a locked door, then closer and closer, until it's right next to your ear. One woman said she saw him once, slouched in the corner of a storage room, fingers in his mouth, as if trying to keep the screaming in. His eyes were pools of black, leaking tears that steamed when they hit the cold floor. A medium claimed he was a soldier who returned from war to find his family gone. Not from death, but from forgetting him. That grief anchored him here. They say if you stay long enough, he'll reach for your hand, not to hurt you, but to remember what warmth felt like. And if you take it, you'll cry too, forever. Janet Smith's whispered end. She was young, 22, Scottish, bright-eyed, hired as a nursemaid in 1924 for one of Vancouver's elite families. But Janet Smith didn't die at home. Not really. They found her body in the basement of a nearby residence. A single bullet to the head. No motive, no suspects, no justice. Whispers say it happened at a party inside HYCROFT Manor, that she saw something she shouldn't have, something monstrous hiding behind money and smiles. So they silenced her and moved the body before sunrise. Ever since, guests report a chill when passing the East Wing. Some hear soft crying behind closed doors. Others see muddy footprints leading nowhere. One visitor awoke to find handprints on the mirror, small, childlike, but with fingernails broken, as if from clawing underground. A former archivist heard her voice in the library, tell them the truth, over and over, until the lights exploded. Justice never came, but Janet did. And if you listen in the silence, not with your ears but your guilt, you'll hear her waiting, not for revenge, for a confession. Adorable Skull will be back, but not all stories end with a closed door. Some keep it open.